Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know it is a little late in the day, or shall I say in the evening, but thank you for coming for this special briefing on Prime Minister's visit to South Africa, Johannesburg, for the G20 summit. We have with us Secretary Economic Relations, who looks after G20 affairs in the Ministry of External Affairs, Sri Sudhakar Dalela, for this special briefing. As also, we are joined by a High Commissioner of India to South Africa, Sri Prabhat Kumar. We also have Sri Shambhu Haki, who's Joint Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, who looks after G20 issues. With that, I would first like to invite a High Commissioner to take us through the developments that have happened on the bilateral side, and thereafter I'll request Secretary here to make his initial remarks. Over to you.
Thank you, Randir. And it's always a pleasure to speak to you, but you can see our Additional Secretary XP, who always takes the floor when he's in Delhi and Ministry of External Affairs. So we have the good luck and opportunity to have him here. So welcome, Randir. Of course, you know Johannesburg very well. He was Consul General here some time back. So yeah, and therefore, and welcome Sudhakar, our Secretary for Africa, Secretary for many other things, but also for G20. So G20 and BRICS. And Shambhu Haki, our Joint Secretary for Multilateral Relations. So we have a good team here. So let me start with what has happened in the last couple of days. You must have seen the warm welcome which was given to Prime Minister Modi when he came to Johannesburg. Of course, the government, as soon as he landed, he was welcomed by Minister in the Presidency, and there was a ceremony there, and thereafter he came to Sandton Sun, and a good gathering of people. First, as soon as he entered the hotel, there was some cultural program, dances, and also a song on the indentured, from the indentured community on Ganga Maiya, which was really, liked by the Prime Minister. Whenever Prime Minister comes to any part of the world, but Johannesburg, this was his 4th visit to South Africa. But whenever he comes to Johannesburg, the welcome he gets is really, really warm. So thank you, Johannesburg, for that. We had, around 300 to 400 people, but more people wanted to come. But because of lack of space and security reasons, we could only accommodate that much. So we are sorry for others who couldn't join, but they must have seen on TV our Prime Minister, or otherwise, and perhaps there will be some other occasion when Prime Minister is here. So very enthusiastic welcome, and the joy and the happiness shown by people. Of course, the Prime Minister was also very happy to be here. We had yesterday, after this warm welcome, a few meetings. One was with the tech entrepreneurs of Indian origin who are here. So young tech entrepreneurs who explain to the Prime Minister the areas in which they are working, and how the technology that they are working on is helping people. So that made Prime Minister make some suggestions. Then he had a meeting with some of the leaders of organizations of the Indian origin people, and that was also went off very well, and that way he was able to connect with the community in otherwise the leadership. So and he had a conversation with them. Thereafter, we also had a meeting with NASPERS. The NASPERS CEO was here, and NASPERS CEO, of course, he talked about the investments that NASPER has made in India and the investments it is going to make in the coming years. And Prime Minister had some suggestions on which areas they could look into. So that meeting also went very well. So these were, for yesterday's activity. Of course, on G20, we have the secretary and the joint secretary who will perhaps give you information. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Participated today in the G20 Leaders Summit hosted by the President of South Africa. This has been Prime Minister's 12th participation in G20 summits. As High Commissioner Prabhat mentioned, Prime Minister has been to South Africa earlier. He came in 2016 on a bilateral visit, followed by 2018 and 2023 for attending the BRICS summits. This is his fourth visit, but this G20 summit was special for many of us, certainly for India, because this was the first time G20 summit took place in Africa, and it was also the fourth Global South presidency of G20 in succession. As you would recall, Indonesia chaired the G20 presidency in 2022, followed by India, Brazil, and then, of course, South Africa. Prime Minister addressed both the sessions of the opening day of the summit today. He thanked Honorable President Ramaphosa for his warm hospitality and for a very successful organization of the summit. At the opening session on inclusive and sustainable economic growth, leaving no one behind, Prime Minister appreciated the work done by the group under the South African presidency in areas such as skilled migration, tourism, food security, artificial intelligence, digital economy, innovation, and women empowerment. Prime Minister recalled some of the historic decisions taken during the New Delhi G20 summit and that have been carried forward by the South African presidency. Prime Minister emphasized that it was time to look at new parameters of development, one which addressed imbalance of growth and overexploitation of nature. In this context, Honorable Prime Minister noted that the idea of integral humanism based on India's civilizational wisdom must be explored, which takes into account the holistic view of human society and nature, and that is how harmony between progress and planet could be achieved. Elaborating India's approach to growth, development, and well-being for all, Prime Minister proposed a few actionable for the G20 to consider. These included, number one, creation of a G20 Global Traditional Knowledge Repository. This would harness collective wisdom of humanity for the benefit of future generations. Secondly, creation of a G20 Africa Skills Multiplier. This program would aim to create a pool of 1 million certified trainers for skilling the youth in Africa. The third, creation of a G20 Global Healthcare Response Team, which would comprise healthcare experts from each of the G20 members and could be deployed to deal with global health challenges in any part of the world. The fourth, establishing a G20 Open Satellite Data Partnership, a program of satellite data in which G20 space agencies would make information available to developing countries for agriculture, fisheries, disaster management, among other activities. Fifth, he also talked about creation of a G20 Critical Minerals Circularity Initiative, an initiative which would foster recycling, urban mining, second life battery projects, and innovation of various types, and help in strengthening supply chain security and develop cleaner pathways of development. And finally, Honorable Prime Minister mentioned about creation of a G20 initiative on countering the drug and terror nexus. In the afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister addressed a session on a resilient world, G20 contribution to disaster risk reduction, climate change, just energy transition, food systems. He appreciated that a disaster risk reduction working group initiated by India during its presidency has been taken forward by the South African presidency. Prime Minister noted that the approach to disaster resilience should be development-centric rather than response-centric, as exemplified by the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure in India. Prime Minister called for greater collective action on climate agenda to strengthen food security. In this context, he also noted the value of millets in promoting nutritional security and environmental sustainability. Prime Minister also recalled the Deccan Principles on food security, which were adopted during India's presidency, and he hoped that such an approach should become the basis for creating a G20 roadmap on food security. He also called upon developed countries to meet their climate action commitments on providing affordable finance and technology to developing countries in a time-bound manner. Prime Minister, of course, sought greater voice for the Global South in global governance structures. In this context, he recalled the inclusion of the African Union as a permanent member of G20 during India's presidency in New Delhi 2 years back, which was a major step forward, and he felt that this inclusive spirit must continue beyond G20. Now, coming to the outcome of the South African presidency, I think all of you have been following reports coming out in media through various platforms within the framework of the overarching theme of solidarity, equality, and sustainability. The G20 this year has delivered a strong message on 4 key priorities that were identified by the South African presidency, which included strengthening disaster resilience and response, taking action to ensure debt sustainability for low-income countries, harnessing critical minerals for sustainable economic growth, and mobilizing finance for just energy transition. There was a focus on the issues and priorities of Africa, which are reflected in the G20 South Africa Summit Leaders Declaration, which was adopted by the members who were gathered at the summit today. I would like to also say before concluding that it is encouraging to see how the initiatives and outcomes that were shaped during our presidency have continued to evolve, gather momentum, and translate into concrete progress across the G20 and taken forward by the South African friends during their presidency. So with these, I would like to only say that there is a 3rd session tomorrow of the summit. Honorable Prime Minister proposes to make an intervention on the theme of the 3rd session, and there would be also on the margins a meeting of the India, Brazil, South Africa leaders tomorrow morning. So with these words, I think I would like to stop here, and I would be happy to take any question that you might have. Thank you very much.
Before we open the floor for questions, let me fill you in with leaders discussed diversification and deepening of India-Australia relationship. As you would be aware, some of you, that this is a relationship which was elevated to the level of comprehensive strategic partnership in 2020, and in the last 5 years this relationship has done exceedingly well, and we have made significant progress. Prime Minister Albanese, he conveyed deepest condolences on the latest terror attack in Delhi, and both leaders renewed their commitment to strengthen global fight against terrorism. The 2 leaders, they discussed as to how to take this relationship forward, and in this context, they talked about strengthening political ties, strategic ties, defense and security issues, trade and investment ties, also collaboration in the fields of critical minerals, mobility, education, energy partnership, and how to strengthen people-to-people linkages between the 2 countries. They also discussed issues of regional and global importance. Prime Minister also had several pull-asides, and we have put out details about each of those meetings. Today, on the sidelines of the G20 summit, Prime Minister met with President of France, India-France relationship, of course, very important, a force for global good. He met the president of South Korea. This was the second meeting that he was having with president of South Korea. Again, a country with which we have special strategic partnership. He met the president of Brazil, President Lula, Prime Minister of UK, Sir Keir Starmer, the UN Secretary General, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, the Prime Minister of Singapore, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, the Chancellor of Germany, Prime Minister of Vietnam, as also Director General of WTO and the Director General of WHO. In addition, Prime Minister also met with the President of Angola and also the President of Sierra Leone. We have put out details of all these meetings, so I would refer you to them. With that, we open the floor for questions. Amrit?
My question is for Secretary ER. This is Amrit Pal Singh from DD India. So, the Johannesburg Leaders Declaration was adopted today. How far would you say that the outcomes of 2023 Delhi Summit were carried forward in Johannesburg?
Mm-hmm. Shruti?
Thank you, sir. Shruti Ranjan from Bloomberg. So I've got a couple of questions and clarifications to ask. So to begin with, sir, we've seen a little bit of rancor coming because of a position that had been taken by the United States. What is India's position on that? Two, why is the IPSA Leaders Summit being held now? I believe it's after 11 years. Is there a reason? Is the trade uncertainty one of them? And finally, sir, if you allow me, if you could give us some details on the trilateral that the Prime Minister had. What exactly will that trilateral achieve?
Mm-hmm. Okay, please.
Hi, good evening. It's Kaya here from SABC News. This is for you, Secretary ER. So obviously this G20 summit happens at a critical time with the geopolitical tension and tariffs and all that. So do you think with the show of the leaders from the G20, is it really indicating that multilateralism is still safe in light of these developments? And maybe just India's take with the US and South Africa. Trump is not here, a very key player in the global economy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We'll take one more question here, please.
Good evening. My name is Kalden Ongmo. I'm presenting WION News. My question is for any one of you. South African government this evening announced that they will not be formally handing over the G20 presidency to US tomorrow. It's very unprecedented. I want to get reaction from India. Thank you.
Can we take these questions? Then we'll come back for more. Let's take these questions first and then we'll come. IPSA.
Well, thank you very much for these questions. The first question was about how South African presidency has carried forward some of the landmark initiatives that were conceived and launched by G20 members during our presidency 2 years back. As I mentioned to you, Honorable Prime Minister did recall some of these historic decisions taken during New Delhi summit that have been taken forward first by Brazil and then by South Africa. To give you maybe a very quick glimpse, I can't sort of list out all of them, but certainly some of the major ones that come to my mind would be in terms of the finance track. They relate to the multilateral development banks, debt vulnerability issue, and thirdly, the financial inclusion in the context of digital public infrastructure. Building on the G20 leaders' commitment in New Delhi to pursue reform for better, bigger, and more effective multilateral development banks. Under the Brazilian presidency, there was a roadmap prepared on this subject. And this year, during South African presidency, a progress report to track the implementation of the roadmap has been welcomed by G20 members. So there has been progress in the last 2 years on this track, which is very important. On the financial inclusion and productivity gains through usage of digital public infrastructure, DPI as we call it in India, there has been a financial inclusion action plan again, which was has been taken forward again by the Brazilian presidency and subsequently this year by South African presidency. And South Africa's priority this year, moving from access to usage in the context of financial inclusion and deployment of DPI, also reinforces the whole sort of rubric of financial inclusion and productivity gains through digital public infrastructure and deployment of technology. The third issue, which I mentioned to you about debt vulnerability, and there again, there was an announcement made during New Delhi Declaration, New Delhi Summit, about how do we address the debt vulnerabilities of low and middle income countries. It has been a priority for our presidency. Subsequently, by the Brazilian side also, it was given a further push. And this year, I must, in fact, congratulate the South African presidency for bringing a G20 ministerial declaration on debt sustainability. So I think this all reflects the importance attached by G20 members in addressing some of these issues, as I mentioned. Beyond financial track, I would say the declaration commits to women-led development, ensuring women's full, equal, and meaningful participation in all decision-making levels. This was something which was highlighted during our presidency, again taken forward by both Brazilian and South African presidency. There is also an endorsement of ambitious disaster risk reduction financing mechanism by the South African presidency. And the declaration also takes note of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure initiative that was launched by India a few years back. On the climate side, G20 leaders reiterated their pledge to triple renewable energy capacity globally and double the annual rate of energy efficiency improvements. This point was made by Honorable Prime Minister in his statement today in session 1. The leaders' declaration also highlights India's initiative of lifestyle for sustainable development. We call it Life in India. So that also finds reference in the leaders' declaration today. In addition to that, there's a recognition of the fact that the developing countries' climate needs requires scaling up climate finance from billions to trillions of dollars. This was flagged during our presidency in terms of scaling up of climate finance, and we're very happy that this initiative and the need for highlighting this aspect has been carried forward by the South African presidency in a very important manner. The leaders have also acknowledged and reaffirmed the comprehensive AI principles, emphasizing human-centric, safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence development. So I would say all these things are very important part of the declaration that has been adopted by the members gathered today, and we are very happy that the South African presidency has really, galvanized activity, engagement throughout their presidency this year, and which has resulted into concrete outcomes as reflected in leaders' document. My colleagues remind me that there is also a recognition of role of evidence-based traditional and complementary medicine, validating India's holistic healthcare heritage. So that also finds reflection in the leaders' declaration. So all in all, I would say a very comprehensive document that has been adopted by the members today. There is also in the declaration a clear-cut condemnation of terrorism in all its forms and manifestation. So we are very happy with that reference. That is very important from our perspective, and we are very happy that G20 collectively has condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. So all in all, I would say very productive outcomes across 4 pillars, carrying forward the ideas of countries from Global South, certainly from India, and I'm sure all of us will continue to work on these themes as we go in the next presidency, G20. That is the first aspect. The second question was about the US position. I would not like to comment on US participation or lack of participation. I would like to comment and focus only on India's participation, and I have spent some time to detail out what our Honorable Prime Minister has highlighted today in his intervention today at the summit, and how some of the ideas which were important for us and which were taken up during New Delhi summit have been sort of carried forward by the South African presidency. You mentioned about IBSA, India, Brazil, South Africa Trilateral Forum. This forum has been in existence for some time, and while the leaders are meeting after some gap, but IBSA leadership has been interacting. Only in September this year, on the margins of UNGA, the foreign ministers of IBSA country also met, and they issued a statement also. And we have cooperative activities in the framework of IBSA. There's an IBSA fund that has been set up by 3 countries through which we try to work together in third countries in Global South, undertaking projects relating to food security, nutrition, and poverty alleviation. We have also exercises in defense area among IBSA members. We have other initiatives which strengthen our people-to-people connection. So under IBSA auspices, we have been working closely, and we are very happy that South African president has decided to convene a meeting on the margins of G20 summit tomorrow. And I would not like to prejudge the outcome of the meeting, and I'm sure they would be discussing issues of importance to all 3 of them, or 3 countries. You asked about trilateral, India, Canada, Australia, and I'll be requesting Randir to perhaps respond to that question. As regards participation of members, I would only say that we have been participating very actively in the G20 ministerial tracks, working groups, and of course, leading up to the summit. And we have tried our best to support South African presidency and to make sure that we have results that matter to Global South, particularly, that matter to India, that matter to South Africa. And we are very happy that we have a leaders' declaration adopted today. The final question about handing over, again, this is a question that perhaps you should refer to South African presidency. It is not for me to comment on that question. Randir, you want to answer that third trilateral cooperation?
Yeah. Thank you. The Prime Ministers of India, Australia, and Canada today met at the G20 venue. The 3 leaders, they have agreed to put in place a trilateral cooperation mechanism. This is Australia, Canada, India Technology and Innovation Partnership. What is important is that here are 3 countries which are democracies and located in 3 different countries coming together to foster trilateral collaboration in the fields of emerging technologies, the field of AI, for fostering diversification of supply chains, for clean energy partnership, and several other such areas of collaboration and cooperation which today govern our lives in the 21st century. The 3 leaders, they have also tasked their teams that they must meet in the first quarter of 2026 so as to give shape to the vision that they have put in place. So sooner our teams will decide as to how we're going to take this collaborative effort forward. And we see this as a very important progress in our ties with Australia and in our ties with Canada, and together the 3 countries now will pool in their respective capabilities and resources and see how best we can not only just address issues on technology, on energy, on supply chain just for themselves, but what can be made available for others as well. So that is, we have put out a detailed joint statement, a common joint statement which has been adopted by the 3 countries. So that will give you more details of this very important collaboration that has been set in motion in Johannesburg. Thank you. You had a question there?
Yes, Siyabonga Sithole from Independent Media. I just want to find out from the panel how the Prime Minister feels about the issue of just the rights of Africa in terms of their critical minds and how the critical minds do not benefit Africa. How can Africa leverage on the support of the G20 in order to realize the full potential of their economic participation?
अखिलेश जी
सर मैं एक सवाल हिंदी में पूछ लूँ?
जी बिल्कुल पूछिए।
सर मैं अखिलेश सुमन हूँ डीडी न्यूज़ से। डेट रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग एक बड़ा प्रॉब्लम रहा है और हमने देखा है कि हमारे पड़ोस में श्रीलंका में ख़ास तौर पे डेट वाज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम। सो ऐसे में G20 में जो डिस्कशन हुए डेट के बारे में, सस्टेनेबल डेट के बारे में, और रियल रिकमेंडेशन क्या रहा है इसके बारे में?
You have a question? Yeah, please.
Good evening. My name is Thando Mayako from the Business Day. This is for the Secretary. My question is, considering that there is obviously an absence, and you don't want to comment on the absence of one member of the G20 in this summit, just how then do members future-proof the declaration from the summit, but other declarations as well, from 2024, from New Delhi in 2023, as now the G20 presidency moves back into the global north?
Lomas?
सर मैं लोमस हूँ INS से। पीएम मोदी ने पहले सेशन में 4 प्रपोजल रखे थे, क्या उसको लेकर के साउथ अफ्रीका या अन्य देशों से कोई प्रतिक्रिया मिली?
I think we can take these questions.
Thank you very much for these questions. On the issue of critical minerals and how one should harness these resources in a manner which is sustainable, which respect nature, which leads to sustainable growth. As I mentioned to you earlier, Honorable Prime Minister, in his intervention in the second session today, did sort of articulate a very clear-cut sort of proposal of setting up or thinking about an initiative on critical mineral circularity. And the whole idea is that how do we foster recycling? How do we harness resources in a sustainable manner? How do we do urban mining? And how do we sort of involve and use innovation in this sector? And how these activities can then help strengthen supply chain security and develop clear pathways of development. So I would refer to that, the actionable that has been mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister for consideration of G20 members. There was also a question about 4 set of proposals that we have outlined, or our Prime Minister has outlined today. In fact, 6 proposals he has made in total 2 sessions, and I have listed these initiatives to all of you. And we would like to, we would not sort of expect an immediate sort of reaction. These are just made today in the sessions, but we would like to engage with G20 members going forward. And I'm sure G20 members would also be reflecting on what our Prime Minister has outlined. These are very important initiatives, very pertinent initiatives on the theme of South African presidency. And as we go toward the next presidency, we would like to, as I said, engage more with G20 members and see how we can take this forward with the support of other members. आपने सवाल पूछा डेट के, ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है जो हमारे लो इनकम और मीडियम इनकम की जो हमारे देश हैं, और इसका जो है हमारी न्यू रिलीज की प्रेसिडेंसी में इस पर काफ़ी फोकस किया था हम लोगों ने इस मुद्दे के बारे में, इसको हम किस तरह से टैकल करें। डेट का इशू अभी काफ़ी सीरियस है डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़ के लिए, अफ्रीका के लिए, और जैसे मैंने बताया आपको कि फाइनेंशियल ट्रैक में इस मुद्दे पे काफ़ी विचार विमर्श हुआ, और इसके बाद में इसके बारे में पूरा एक G20 मिनिस्ट्रियल स्टेटमेंट भी है कि इस तरह डेट सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए हम क्या काम कर सकते हैं, और इसमें हमें चाहिए कि हम इसके लेवल को अनसस्टेनेबल ना बनाएं, और दूसरा जो हाई कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल है डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़ के लिए, उसको हम कैसे मैनेज करें। तो मैं आपको यही कहूँगा कि इसको जो स्टेटमेंट उसको आप ध्यान से पढ़ें और इसमें काफ़ी विचार विमर्श करने के बाद में इस स्टेटमेंट को बनाया गया है. Regarding the participation of members, as you asked, as I mentioned earlier, I can only speak about India's participation in G20 deliberations. We attach tremendous importance to this forum, G20 forum, and we would like to continue to engage very actively on all aspects of work that we do in this important grouping. Thank you.
Just to add to those 6 proposals that our Prime Minister has made for the consideration of G20, all these proposals, they ring a louder bell here in Africa, because all those proposals are about the aspirations of people on this continent and aspiration of the global south. And in fact, it goes beyond that and talks about well-being of the world at large. So we look forward to taking these 6 proposals forward along with G20 countries.
I will maybe just to chip in, Randhir, on this matter. I think, as my colleague Randhir mentioned, these are very important initiatives that Prime Minister have outlined. And one particular initiative that our Prime Minister laid out in the first session was about G20 Africa, a skills multiplier. You know, Africa has a large population base. Africa is has a large youth population. And if we have to have steady economic growth, rapid economic growth, you need to have skilled manpower, skilled resources. And it is in that context, our Prime Minister has laid out this proposal, which has tremendous value, I would say, and should have interest in Africa. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and we look forward to our conversation tomorrow at the G20 venue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming at this late hour. You know, we were working, so we couldn't come earlier. Thank you very much for staying back.